You know what? I'm gonna offer like a bonus here. I just got inspired, but it's like I said, these intuitions and everything that comes through your bodies and everything. I just got inspired to talk more about these bodies. It's such a beautiful topic as far as I'm concerned. I want to see if I could just share a little bit more. Yeah, as I said, just I've been inspired, and I want to try to get the rest of this out, which is what is inside of me. I want to get it out there to you guys. Reason why that I'm so happy to understand these bodies and have us try to use them in our experience. Because if we just try to understand ourselves as one physical body, then we're trapped in a physical body. But if you use your understanding about where your emotions are coming from, where your mental understanding is coming from, where your intuitive thoughts are coming from, and why you have this awe about this spirituality that's around you. These things are the reason why. Because you're not just one body. You consist of all of these different bodies. And when I say bodies, I just mean different vibration. Uh, uh, We know from quantum physics that everything is vibrations everywhere. So we know that there's really nothing that is solid. Everything is vibrations. I'm so glad that quantum physics came around so that people can start to understand things a little deeper than before. Because when you say things are not really solid, you be like, what do you mean things are not solid, man? I'm sitting in a chair. It's solid, I can't put my hand through my hand. So I'm solid. It's just, but what I'm talking about, this is quantum physics. I'm not talking about God or Jesus or anything. I'm talking about what quantum physics says. Everything is energy and everything is vibrational. And it's our senses that make us perceive things as they are. So that if we perceive something as being solid and we can't go through it, doesn't mean that, I have a different perception and then just go through it. We're not able to just circumvent physics, like we're in physics at the same time that we're in metaphysics, at the same time that we're in quantum physics, and we're in all those at the same time. So we just have to try to imagine and figure out what all these things are. And I'm not figuring them out like, you gotta sit there 1,000 years and try to figure it. You just know of them, and then you kind of use them in your thought processes. So, like I'm saying, knowing that nothing is really solid, that means that your physical body is not really solid. It's a manifestation of something that is manifesting as something that's seeming to be solid. It's seeming to be solid. That's all I have to say about that. So therefore, if I say you have that, plus you have that other vibrational aspects of yourself that are also involved in that vibrational sphere of what we call a body, does that sound too far-fetched? That's what I'm trying to do. Try to say things in a way that doesn't sound too far-fetched from the reason that we all know. It's all in that same vibrational entity that is a body, although it's called many bodies. Just because one is on the level of being solid, physical, material, to that extent, the others are still there in a vibrational manifestation within the entity that we're calling a body. These are all there, and they're all being utilized in our being. So knowing this, we can now start to understand why we feel certain ways, why we intuit certain things, why sometimes things make sense to us, sometimes they don't, and where all this stuff is coming from. It helps us to pick all this stuff apart a little, because now you say, now I can think a little bit more open about this, now that I know and understand that I have these different bodies that are actually part of what I am. I can now see why I am hooked up with this religion, why my thoughts when I think about this other person are so vivid as opposed to when I think about this person, which my thoughts don't go any place. But when I think about this person, and my thoughts are just so negative, because I'm just thinking about, oh, this is just normal, this is the way I'm a person and everything, instead of saying, well, I know why this is happening now. I think since I know why, I think I might have a little bit more control about how I'm utilizing these different bodies that I have. So I'm not taking these like I've studied all of these so that I brushed over them enough and skimmed over them enough to have a bit of an understanding of what I'm talking about. Yes, of course, and can explain it. And I do know of them. I do know what they are there to represent on a general level. And there's people that want to know more, like I explained before. You got to just study deeper. At the same time, you're saying to yourself, okay, there's nothing bad about what's going on here that I'm doing. I am perceiving things in a certain way, and they're making me act in a certain way and react in certain ways, and the thought forms that I'm forming in my mental body, they are vivid, and they are affecting me, and they are affecting others, and those others are affecting me also, and I have to take all this into consideration. Other people's thought forms are affecting me too. So, I don't have to be afraid of them. There's some voodoo person. No, because your will is the final speaker of everything. No, there's nobody who can do anything to you, like mentally, that your will is not going to allow it to, when your will is strong enough. So you need to know that. I'm not saying that we don't have people that have certain mental afflictions, and they can't figure out how to control themselves. Because through the trillions of cells that we have, a lot of times there's too many of them that are unbalanced. A little defective, unbalanced. They call a human entity to go in a way that seems very sporadic or crazy, or not the way that it could be controlled. And yes, that happens because we're talking about things that are not exact. There's no exactness. There's no. Yeah, that's right. There's no exact science. No exact. We're trying to attain balance, but there's no exactness in this universe because we have duality in this universe. Which duality means that you have to have chaos if you want to have balance. Because if you did not have any chaos, then you wouldn't know what balance was. See, so when we're in this universe, when we're in this manifestation, it's about duality. We'll get more into that into our next topic. But suffice it to say, for now, everybody is doing what they're doing on the level that they're doing it with the different bodies that we have and the karmic reality of where they are right now. Everything that we're doing now is because of something that happened before. Because that's a law of the universe, like we're saying. So if whatever happened before is manifesting now, and you can do your best to do, pray, use your will, do whatever you need, or have a great time in all your bodies. Try to understand them, how to use them for your benefit. Don't be so surprised that everything doesn't go exactly your way all the time. I'm sure you're not necessarily surprised. Don't get so bent out of shape. It's hard to control all that too. I hope that I don't get any big tragedy. I'm a person getting older. Things are going to happen to me. I don't like that, but I have to try to keep my will at that place where I say that, listen, it's not that serious. I am here. I am beautiful. Everything is beautiful around me. I'm in God's hands. God gave me these different bodies that I can experience everything that I'm experiencing, or experiencing them all. I'm trying to understand them all. I'm trying to keep everything in perspective. And when I do that, and I continually do that, for some reason, I always wind up feeling joyful. For some reason, I wound up waking up in the morning and saying, wow, I'm here again to do this again, all over again. This is so great. I came out of my astral and I'm back into the physical. And thank you. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, creation. Thank you, everything. It's just that wonderful feeling of having that understanding of what I am being thrown into when I wake up. I'm not no longer just being thrown into chaos. I'm being thrown into a situation where chaotic things might happen. Chaotic things might be involved in it. Chaotic things might sometimes surround me. But basically, everything is beautiful. The beauty that surrounds me, just the breaths that I take and the taste that I have when I eat food, and the wonderful nourishment from water, and just being able to move and dance and sing and laugh and love others and see others and have that great feeling of, wow, look at these other beings. Look at all this other manifestation around me. So that's a balance that we always have to try to keep in our minds in order to keep our joy. Don't just focus on some of the things that are troubling you. I mean, yeah, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be tribulations. And you got to do your best to alleviate that trouble. But don't just make it your whole focus, because there's so much more to focus on. That's what I'm trying to talk about. All the different things that we can focus on, why they make sense. And why, when we're saying them to ourselves, we're also saying, this is such a tremendously wonderful universe that I'm in, and that I am. As a matter of fact, I am this. Not only am I in this, I am this. So, what more can I possibly be asking for? Don't I have everything? Yes, I do. I have everything already. Sometimes I lose sight of that. It's easy to lose sight of it. Lose sight of it whenever, but when I go back to this way of thought, I understand once more that I do have everything because I am everything. All right, that's it. That's the bonus. We'll get ready to go to our next topic. Thank you. See you soon. This chapter is going to seem a little weird after the beautiful, serene chapter that we just went through. But this chapter is very important. It's one of the most important chapters that I happen to have put in this book because it's a real personal um, chapter. So the great bonus that I said that I gave you had its opposite darker side that my authoring would be disingenuous if I didn't include. At one point, I believed that all the things that I was learning in this time was an absolute guarantee that this thought process would automatically override any kind of adversities that would happen to come and try to plague your life. It could just provide an escape of unhampered focus and of bravery and courage over anything, any adversity that might try to bring you down. However, in my own personal life, this wasn't even the case. Through my life experiences, when I reached the age of like 71, I went into a deep depression. And it's because I had many bad events just come down on me all at one time. And these events, they're not even, weren't even so bad as like people in life get, through many of the things that they go through in their life. But since they were plaguing me, it was all I could focus on. I couldn't even muster my spiritual thoughts. It was a period that, as though all my thoughts didn't even exist anymore, except for the focus of what my adversity was at that time. So, if these lessons are supposed to be so self-evident about how once you raise yourself up into this understanding of enlightened understanding of what's really the world is all about and what really the universe is all about and all these things that I was learning. So how come suddenly I just lost all of that? I couldn't even find the way that I was thinking all the way up until this point. It just seemed like to vanish so quickly. Well, for one thing, I had to come to the realization that, first of all, I wasn't so brave as I was trying to make myself out to be. I was really as long as I was like hitting that ball over the fence and out of the park, everything was fine. But once I got into like a slump and I couldn't hit that ball anymore, so the next thing I know is my need for have that balance in my life about, well, everything is like fine and now I can focus on these thoughts of mine about this spirituality and everything. But once once I got into this kind of a slump that I was talking about, then it all gets knocked out. It all gets like just buried. So at the time that this was happening, um, what did I say? I was 71, and my sexual nature was like waning. Like and my lower chakra was like that's it. You don't, your sexual nature is over. And my mind, my mundane mind is like, no, I don't want this to be over. That can't be. I'm going to keep it going. And, so I'm doing everything in my power to keep this urging that my lower chakra, every idea I could come up with would try to be focused on that, just because of the fact that, I think that this old so important part of me I don't want it to just completely go away. So what I did was, trying so hard to keep it, actually burnt it out. Burnt my lower chakra out. And in the process of burning it out, I also burnt out the power of my legs in the process. So it was crazy. I would just be in excruciating pain all day, from the time that I'd wake up until the time that I would try to get myself maybe a couple of hours of sleep, just to get away from this, and then wake up again and be in the same situation. I I felt like I knew how Superman felt feels, or when he runs across a big meteor of kryptonite. Like, you just, nothing you can do about it. All you gotta do is just lay there and just wither, because the kryptonite got you. So that uncomfortability and pain was just plain hell, and it was ever present. So I can understand how, when hell is described, it's described to people in a way that the anguish that you're going to be going through if you disobey your handlers as far as your religion goes, um, you're going to be placed in a place where you're going to have some anguish, and that anguish that we're talking about is going to just last for like eternity. Now, being in that understanding, you're going to do everything in your power not to have to be focused, not to have to be um, faced with that possibility when you actually die and go over to the other side of reality. So now you can see how people's fear and unwanted, um, just unwanted expectation of that is going to definitely keep them in line to a certain extent. So I know that if you have that while you're still on this side of life, that's not so great. It was terrible. So besides the fact that I had no legs, excruciating pain, and then I had some car accidents that were uh, had put me into like massive debt, or expected massive debt. I mean, this is not a way that I was really feel like I wanted to live like this. My two vocations were driving, um, driving for car service, and dance instruction. So obviously, those things were curtailed to a point of near impossible. So I'm going through now a situation where I'm saying, in my mundane mind, I'm saying that this is not a way that I want to spend my time. You every waking moment being in this kind of reality. I mean, it just didn't seem fair. It just didn't seem like, how much how do I want to just be here like this? That was the only thing that was on my mind. So I'm saying that's the state of hell that I was in. So it wasn't too long after my only thoughts would start to go towards, well, maybe I just got to get out of here. Maybe I just out the thoughts of suicide just came into my mind. I'm like, I got to get out of this. I can't be like this. Now, of course, suicide is like, that means you're using your own hand to take yourself out. Now, I don't know no one knows what's on the other side of reality, that death side of reality. I mean, of course, my studies were telling me certain things, and I would say, "Oh yeah, that sounds right. I believe this. Yes, yes. This is what I. This is sounds logical. This sounds great to me. I think that this is what it is." But I can't. How am I going to be sure? I can't be sure. There's no way to be sure because you can't be sure of something that you don't experience, that you haven't experienced. So yeah, what I ascertained through my studies was one thing, but through my actual spiritual development, it was still an uncertainty. Plus, there's the thought of like, if I'm using my own hand to unalive myself, kill myself, then isn't there a possibility that doing that is actually stunting the natural flow of my advance to the enlightenment that I'm supposed to be getting to? I might actually, like, in essence, put myself back a few lifetimes or whatever because of the fact that of an action that I had taken in this lifetime. That's something that was definitely on my mind at the same time also. That whatever you do is in karma. So there's an effect of everything. So it could be a negative effect, that something that I'm not even really contemplating well enough just because of the situation that I'm in. And so with those thoughts all mixing together, that made like this the suicide option. It was good as far as, like, trying to plan on how I could do it and all the rest of this kind of stuff. That wasn't a big problem, but the actual the actionable choice was not an easy choice, which is a good thing. Yeah, I could plan, like I said, but actually doing it, that was a different story. Now, as I say, I wasn't. I'm not brave. I thought that I was brave and all the rest of this stuff, but I'm not brave because bravery means that you just face anything and you just go without any fear. But no, 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 no. I had a lot of fears, a lot of intrepidations, a lot of everything around this situation. So yeah, we can be brave, or some people are braver than others, or everything like that. But in my estimation, no, I'm not brave. I I was just trying to seek something to get myself out of this particular hell that I was in at this time. And I'm just so fortunate because finally my karmic guardian angels came to my rescue after going through months and months and months of trying to find someone who could help me, chiropractors or orthopedics or anything, all these different doctors and everything, and no one had the answer until finally a doctor came along and said, "Oh, I think I've I've had persons that's gone through this before, and I think I have an answer for you. Now, he saved my life. I have to say. I mean, I had fortune. I mean, I had family. My son is around me, and he's like trying to make sure that I don't, make good on the things that I'm telling him I'm feeling. He's like, no, you can't do that. It's family. You can't leave your family. You can't, you know, can't just exit out of here like that. That's, and I was open enough to really be able to come to I had people I could come to and be open about what I was actually feeling. So that was another very fortunate situation. I went to therapy, which was another fortunate situation that I was able to get into therapy and talk about it. Uh, Actually, that therapy was like after uh, I was getting cured. So, but anyway, what I finally after this doctor gave me this therapy and it started to alleviate the pain, and then I was like, uh, yeah, it feels like it's getting better. Um, but I still hurt. So he said, hey, listen, come on now, be patient. You know, I didn't say it's going to just go away. I said that what I'm doing is going to get you better. It's going to heal you. So try to be patient. In other words, somebody be brave. Stop being so cowardly. Like just be brave. So I said, okay, fine. And sure enough, it did go away. Got to a point where it was not. It was like very much non-existent as compared to what was going on. And at the same time, my my debts. I went to court, back and forth to court and everything, and it winds up that they threw my debts out. They threw them out. So I was like, look at this. Now I don't have the same kind of pain and trepidations and the heavy debt and all the rest of this stuff. So look at me now. I mean, yeah, it took quite a while to get to that point, but look at me now. So I had to. This is what I had to contemplate at that point. I said, what just happened here? And what I came up with is that what's happening. These are what things that happen in life to you sometimes, and I like to call them like what I would say. The word I use is initiation. I had sometimes if you're on a bad path and your guardian angels are there behind you, they'll get you off of that path, but you can't get off of that path without a lesson. And so that lesson that you get is going to be is going to seem like a punishment. It's like a punishment for you not having the ability or the wherewithal or the control to not have put yourself on that path. You don't want to put yourself on that path. Your guardian angels didn't do it. You did it. So therefore, they're like, okay, we're gonna help you, but we can't help you without making sure that you understand this lesson that made you on the path that you were on, and now that you can understand that and have that under your belt, now you can move on to the better path. So yes, that's what it was. I was able to move on to a brighter path. But yet again, I had to go through that in order to get there. When I got to the end of that tunnel, I was clearer now. to understand certain things that even in the past, certain things that I had gone through in the past, I was like, you know what? This was a really hard lesson. But do you remember those other lessons that you went through in the past? And how you got spared by your karmic guardian angels. But yet again, there was a big price to pay for not understanding that you were on the wrong path. So this became now the unfairness that I was like trying to put myself in that frame of mind. This is not fair. This is happening to me. This is not fair. Now I understood the fairness of it. It is fair. It's exactly what should be happening. It's exactly how you should be learning throughout your life experiences here. It makes so much sense now because after coming out on the other side of the tunnel and having that clear vision, it became very vivid about what was going on. See, there's a lesson in everything in life, and it's wrong to think that that hell or whatever that you're going through is going to be everlasting, because there is no hell that is going to be everlasting. It might be, you don't know what the length of it or the distance or how long or what karma you have wrought to even have got you into the hell. Some people like, I didn't even do anything. How did I get here? I didn't do anything, but you don't know. You can't be sure of why you're there, and you can't be sure of the duration of the hell. But one thing that you can be sure of is that no hell lasts forever. What it is, it's a lesson. Somewhere along the line, you needed that lesson. So that was a very inspirational understanding for me. You must accept what you get because the lords of karma know what's best for you. So I mean, to understand the pain part of that lesson was something that I sure hope I don't have to go through again. Might happen. Like I said, please no, but whatever. But just the fact that I understand now that that my karmic guardian angels, they took me out of that hell and they put me into the heaven of a new understanding and a confidence of the things that happen in life are for my good. So every day I make it my business to give thanks to my karmic guardian angels and for the wonderful protection. They're there for your protection. They're there for to teach you, and especially when you are open to the learning. Because if you're not open to the learning, then you won't get taught, and then you'll probably have to be in a situation that you don't want to be in, even though you don't know that you don't want to be in there, because you weren't open to the learning. So you always have to be open to that learning. You always have to have that side of you saying, well, oh my God, this is bad, but I have to be open to the learning. of what I'm going to be getting out of this. And these are hard lessons now. I'm not saying that this is easy because I don't know how whatever happens next or whatever. I can't just automatically just say, oh, yeah, well, now I got this. I got to. No, it's just going to happen the way that it happens. And hopefully that these understandings can really carry me through a lot better than previously. My God, these my karmic guardian angels are not really like persons that get into a conference and say, okay, what we're going to do about this guy. No, it's like they're like it's like um I would say evolutionary principles. They're there for to protect you. When protection is called for, they will protect you, and especially when you're ready to learn something, they will give you that spiritual comprehension, and that's what makes it so beautiful because your soul essence is always going to be saved. We are spirit. Spirit's not going to end. Spirit doesn't end. And we're also soul. Of course, we're spirit, we're soul, we're mind, and we're body. So a spirit's not going to end, of course. Our soul is always going to be gathering and giving us this kind of understanding and uplifting us further and further and further into that into that state of enlightenment that we are all seeking. And the closer that we get to it, the more it draws us. So I just needed to add that part of this whole thing that I'm trying to teach and trying to explain to the best of my ability through my experiences, because now, especially that I'm back into my, oh yeah, everything is wonderful, and I'm in that best place in my life again. It took me a long time to get back there. I had to stop this book for like a long time because I didn't want to just be disingenuous about what I was trying to write. But now I'm very comfortable about writing about it again because I understand the lessons of life. And that's what I wanted to emphasize about this particular chapter. So I think that's enough for this chapter. And now I'm ready to go on to our next chapter and to our next understanding about, I'm not sure what it is right now, but it's coming. So thanks for this one. Thanks for listening to this one. And I'll be back very soon with the next.